Welcome to my kitchen. Thanks so much for joining me. We had a cold snap in my area and it's cold and rainy, so of course I've got to pull out my big soup pot and make a big pot of soup. And I chose Pasta Fagioli Soup. And the ingredients are, I used a pound of deer sausage, some pork sausage, also 2 cans of Great Northern beans and kidney beans, chicken broth, ditalini pasta, 2 jars of my canned tomatoes, 2 cans of tomato sauce, some shredded Parmesan cheese, carrots, onion, celery, and garlic, and of course salt and pepper, Italian seasoning, and oregano seasoning. And I even pulled out my bread maker, and I'm going to make a big loaf of Parmesan garlic bread. So the first step is to brown the meat, and this is the deer sausage, and deer sausage has little fat in it, so I always like to add a little bit of fat to it, so I'm going to put in some pork sausage. The recipe originally called for Italian sweet sausage, but this is what I'm going to use today. So I'm just browning that nicely in my cast iron skillet. And these taste wonderful together. Deer and pork taste really good. So now I'm going to add in my chopped onions, carrots, and celery. And I'm just going to cook that in with the meat until the vegetables are translucent. And this gives the vegetables a lot of flavor. You can see there's not a lot of fat in this, so I really didn't have to drain it. After it cooked for a while, it pretty much cooked out. But it smells really good, and I like to chop my vegetables up fine. And there it is. You can see the celery and the onions are now translucent. So I've got my big soup pot, and I'm going to pour that into the soup pot. Alright, now I'm going to add in, this is like a double pack of chicken broth. Instead of 1 box, it's 2 boxes. I picked this up at the grocery store yesterday. They had all their Thanksgiving stuff stacked together, and so I grabbed one of these. So I'm going to add that. I did add 1 quart of water and then 2 quarts of the stewed tomatoes. And then you're going to open up 2 cans of tomato sauce. I have seen where some recipes said you could use marinara sauce. I had some tomato sauce, so that's what I put into this soup. I've got the whole family coming over tonight for dinner, so that's why I had to pull out the big pot. There's 1 can of tomato sauce, and then I added another can. Then just give it a stir. Now I'll let this sit and simmer for about an hour and a half before I added anything else. There is the seasoning, the Italian seasoning, the oregano, and the salt and the pepper. And I did use kosher salt for this. But I just let this come to a boil, and then I just let it simmer because I wanted to wait till closer to the time my guest arrived before I added the pasta and the beans. So this just sat and simmered lightly. So now it's time to add in the ditalini pasta. So I add that in first, and I cooked that for about 8 to 10 minutes until the pasta was pretty much done. And then after about 8 minutes, I went ahead and added in the beans. And they have been drained and rinsed. And I just add those in. And then this cooked for about another 8 to 10 minutes, just long enough to warm those beans. But everything else is pretty much done. But this was a very delicious soup. It's very hearty. It makes a lot for a big group. So this is the copycat of the Olive Garden version, and it turned out really good, especially with the deer and the pork sausage. It's delicious. So if you're a deer hunter or you have one in the family and you don't know what to do with all that deer sausage, this is a great recipe. So this just kind of sat and simmered, and I give it a stir to make sure that pasta doesn't stick. And then we served it up to the family. And there is the final product. It looks so good and it tasted divine. There's the Parmesan garlic crusted bread. Oh, this was such a good supper. The whole family ate that pot clean. So I hope you'll give this recipe a try. It is really delicious. I've left all the ingredients in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a very, very blessed day.